The next morning, while everyone was eating, Rick also noticed the wound on his good buddy's neck. Shane just explained that he accidentally got it while sleeping. After breakfast, the crowd still had a lot of questions. Jenna had to take them to the workplace to explain everything they wanted to know. Jenna said that after death, people would mutate into zombies. This time is as fast as 3 minutes, and the longest time is up to 8 hours. The only way to kill them is to destroy the brain. The crowd understood the principle but was more concerned about whether there was a solution. Jenna said helplessly that so far, there was no solution. At this point, the wise Dale looked at the countdown on the wall and asked what would happen after the time was up. Jenna said the generator would run out of fuel, said and left the place. Rick can only ask the AI, what will happen when the power runs out? The answer they get is that the power will run out, and there will be full disinfection. Although they did not understand what it meant, Rick took the people directly to where the fuel was stored, and indeed the fuel was almost gone. By this time, the lights in the entire hall had gone out. Jenna explained that the system would shut down unnecessary power if only half an hour were left. He also told the truth to everyone. If the power is exhausted and can only be here to die. Rick realized something was wrong and told his wife to pack up and prepare to leave. The crowd rushed to start moving. That's when the alarm in the hall sounds, indicating that the disinfection process has 30 minutes to go. Jenna flipped the switch, and the door was sealed. It was clear he was going to keep everyone here. Daryl goes berserk and tries to use violence to get Jenna to open the door but is stopped by T-Dog. Rick came over and calmly asked him to open the door. But Jenna said that the door above had been blocked, and the one here was also closed, and there was nothing he could do about it. It was all computer controlled. Rick asked again what would happen here after 28 minutes. Jenna said that what is stored here is quite dangerous. All kinds of viruses have everything. If power is exhausted here, a self-destruct sequence will be initiated. The crowd fell silent, which meant everyone there would die. Jenna then went on to say that this place will release a bomb second only to nuclear bombs, igniting the air and destroying the existence of all organisms with no pain at all, which is also a good choice. The women and children were already crying in fear. Only a few men refused to admit defeat and slashed the iron door with axes, but it was all to no avail. The door could withstand a rocket blast. Shane has gone crazy and forced him to open the door with his gun. Rick stops him. Violence is not going to solve anything now. Laurie also begs Jenna to open the door. No one wants to die. Rick and the others convinced Jenna that he could open the door here, but he couldn't open the door outside either. Then he entered the password, and the door finally opened. With only 4 minutes and 30 seconds left on the clock, everyone ran desperately for the outside. Surprisingly, Jackie chose to stay. She didn't want to become a zombie. She was happy to die without pain. It was her choice. The crowd also no longer forced. Even Andrea also chose to stay. Amy died, and she had no confidence in life. Dale stayed and tried to persuade her. Several people who came outside had to choose to break the glass, but no matter how hard they tried, there was no response and even the shot only left a little trace. At this time, Carol rushed up. She took out the grenade that Rick had gotten in the tank. I never thought it would come in handy here. A huge explosion finally broke the glass. Now every minute is precious. They soon arrived at the car. The crowd was just about to leave, but they didn't expect Dale to persuade Andrea to come out. They also quickly ran toward the car. There were only 10 seconds left. It was too late to start the car. Laurie hurriedly shouted for them to get down. Rick also let the people inside the car quickly find cover. A few seconds later, a huge explosion was heard, and the CDC seemed to turn into a volcano. The good thing is that the area affected is a manageable size. After the explosion stopped, the people were not affected much, and they all survived. Now everyone had to head towards Fort Benning, as Shane said. With the zombie army wreaking havoc, the heavily guarded CDC has fallen. The survivors had to go to the next military base for protection. When they arrived at the highway, they found the situation. There are many abandoned cars parked here, must be blocked here when the end times come. This is when there is a problem with the cooling system of the RV, and the repair will definitely take some time. They can also take this opportunity to search for something useful. T-Dog and Daryl were responsible for extracting the gasoline from the car. Carol also found some nice clothes that her husband would not allow her to wear before. Shane also found a load of mineral water, an important commodity in a post-apocalyptic world. Glenn, who was fixing the car, was happy as a child. At this point, Rick spots a zombie in the distance with his sniper rifle. He wanted to shoot it, but another one appeared in the scope. He was about to shoot when Dale, on the car's roof, saw this scene. It was a swarm of zombies. Dale was on the car's roof and didn't dare to make a sound. Rick naturally also saw it and hurriedly crouched down to avoid being discovered. Rick had only run to the back as fast as he could and told everyone to hide. Laurie pulled Carol under the car and hid. Carl and Sophia also got under the car. Shane also noticed at this point and pulled Glenn under the car. The zombies soon came towards the car. They just have to make no noise and wait for them to pass. But Andrea in the car was still concentrating on assembling her pistol and didn't notice what was happening outside. But soon, she finally sensed that something was wrong and turned her head to take a look, which directly made her scalp tingle, and she hurriedly crouched down. Rick, under the car, also instructed his wife not to be nervous or make a sound. The only one who did not hide is T-Dog. His size is difficult to fit under the car. But at this time, his arm artery was cut open, and he did not dare to make a sound even if it hurt, so he could only find a place to hide. The zombie has come up next to Rick and the others. Carl was very nervous. Rick, on the other side, could only signal his son to relax. The good thing is that although the two children are nervous, but also did not make a sound. At this time, a zombie came up in the RV. Andrea hurriedly grabbed the unassembled pistol and hid it in the toilet. She has no experience in killing zombies. But the more nervous she was, the more likely she was to make a mistake, and the parts fell on the floor. The zombie heard the sound and immediately attacked towards the toilet. She was so scared that she put her feet against the door. Dale on the roof of the car naturally heard the commotion. He threw the screwdriver in his hand down. When the zombie broke through the door, she gathered the courage to stab the zombie directly through the head. In the early days of the post-apocalyptic world, the job of killing zombies was usually done by men. Andrea had killed a zombie. Her heart could not be at peace for a long time. And T-Dog had yet to find a place to hide. The wound on his arm had not been treated, he had lost a lot of blood, and his brain had developed some vertigo. He couldn't run anymore, and a zombie was already heading toward him. At this time, Daryl arrived and used his bow and arrow to sneak up on the zombie. T-Dog had been stunned into unconsciousness. Daryl had to use the zombie's corpse to cover him and then cover himself with a corpse, hoping this could hide from the zombies.